As we've been reporting, President-elect Trump is working to fill out top positions in his administration, and comments that Trump made during the campaign trail could give us insight into his foreign policy agenda. Here's what he said about the NATO military alliance in February.
One of the presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills.
NATO members are expected to meet the alliance's guideline of spending 2% of their GDP on defense spending. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte says he looks forward to working with Trump next year and noted that 2/3 of NATO countries currently meet that goal. Matthew Kroenig joins us now. He's a professor of government and foreign service at Georgetown University. Thank you for being here.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Given Trump's previous relationship with NATO, would you expect a renewed conversation within the alliance about defense spending, and what would that mean for its members?
Yes, I think so. NATO adopted its first serious defense plan since the end of the Cold War last year. And NATO leaders I talk to say that to provide the capabilities needed for those plans, that the allies are going to have to spend about 3.5% of GDP on defense. The current target is only 2%, so it's not enough. On the campaign trail, Trump has said that allies are going to have to spend 3%, and I think he's right on the merits, if not a bit short. So I think that will be another major theme of his presidency, like it was in the first term, of getting NATO allies to step up and provide for the common defense.
Specifically on Ukraine, Trump's former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says Trump won't let Putin roll through Ukraine. But congressional Republicans have been critical of sending more aid. How do you see the Trump administration approaching the war and relations with Vladimir Putin?
Well, I'd start by saying that the war is not going well currently. Russia is taking back territory. On the current path, it looks more likely that Russia wins than that Ukraine wins. And so Trump has been very clear and consistent on the campaign trail. He said he wants to stop the war and stop the killing. And so I think what he's going to try to do is to force a negotiation immediately between Zelensky and Putin to get some kind of ceasefire, if not a more permanent peace deal.
Would that include Russia annexing parts of Ukraine, and what would that mean for the globe?
I think there are a lot of details to be spelled out. Who would be at the table? What is the future status of Ukraine? It looks to me likely, just given where we are militarily, that Russia would remain occupying about 20% of Ukraine that it currently occupies. But that doesn't mean that that would have to be legally recognized. It could be recognized as the status quo for now and illegal occupation of Ukrainian territory to be negotiated later. But again, I think the initial focus is going to be on stopping the current violence.
In the Middle East, Trump has named Congresswoman Elise Stefanik as UN ambassador. Here's what she said when she spoke at Israel's legislature in May.
As long as I serve the American people, I will defend George Washington's vision of religious pluralism and freedom. Today, this means crushing anti-Semitism at home and supplying the state of Israel with what it needs, when it needs it, without conditions to achieve total victory in the face of evil.
Given Stefanik's support of Israel and Trump's relationship with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, what could Middle East policy look like under Trump?
I think the first term provides a good guide. In the first term, the Trump administration put in place a so-called maximum pressure campaign against Iran, was tough on Iran and terrorists, and supported traditional U.S. partners in the region like Israel and the Gulf states. The Biden administration took a different approach, centered its foreign policy on trying to get a nuclear deal with Iran. That hasn't worked. And so I think a second Trump administration is going to return to that approach from the first term of putting pressure on Iran, on terrorists, but more fully supporting Israel and its right to defend itself and trying to repair relationships with the Gulf states.
Matthew Kroenig, thank you for your time.
Thank you.